Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the They Came From Beyond rules by Onyx Path Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to themes for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include various hijinks, mature language, and possible show rewrites. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. And now, on with the show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am normally your keeper, handler, sometimes storyteller, Michael Diamond. I'm going to be turning this entire production over to our director for the evening, who is Miranda. So it's all yours, Miranda. This is the last one.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I am going to miss this series, and I hope we get a chance to do more things like this. This being They Came From the Cyclops' Cave by Onyx Path Publishing. I am super excited to find out what our intrepid adventures, they're definitely something, and this is one hell of a production, and I cannot wait to get back to it. So without further delay, let's find out who our cast is in this film, starring...
Hi, this is Allie, and I play Victoria Baxter, or as I am known, inserting myself into less than ideal situations.
Guest starring...
This is Morgan. I am playing Celador the Explorer, our local champion, with my, ever-ready steed, Polka Dot, who ran away.
Special appearance by...
This is Lonnie. I am playing the Great Oraz, and I can't believe that my last goddamn film is a softcore porn flick with this oiled-up dude next to me.
Introducing...
Oh, you absolutely can believe it, because it's happening. My name is Mike, and I'm playing, of course, your, greasy and sexy friend, Alistair von Houtenberg, the scoundrel of the group who clearly has a bit of an issue with, probably human resources pending.
Our party awakes as the sun sets, and you awake to the sound of the milk freshly squeezed from the teat of the cow being squirted into a metal bucket beside you. You said you wanted fresh milk. It doesn't get any fresher than this.
It did. It does certainly look creamy.
She will hand you a ladle full of it out of the bucket.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely take a big mouthful of it. And then being not used to, unpasteurized milk, I'd probably likely go completely green for a moment, hold it in as best I can for the camera. And then once the camera pans away to someone else, just absolutely eject it as soon as I possibly can.
Oh, the rest of your party too. They must stay strong for their adventures. Would you like some milk as well?
Yes, drink up. Oh.
I look at her, ma'am, I think I can do this myself. And I grab the cow's teat and I squirt it in my mouth.
Oh, dear, those are deft fingers that you have.
I grew up on a farm. I know all about teats.
Oh, strong farm stock you are then.
Why, yes. I will go slay that dragon.
Oh, it's a dragon, you say. It's a prince, okay.
I require no milk. I subside on water and coffee.
Oh, well then, I can go fetch you some coffee. Perhaps you would like some milk in it.
Negative.
And you, kind sir?
I'm good with water, thanks.
Oh, would you like some milk in that?
It's not you, it's me. I have standards.
Oh, lactose intolerant. I understand. The milkmaid leaves. She'll bring back coffee or water or whatever. Anything. She'll go just grab it off of craft services table, and we'll bring that back for you because they didn't have it in the scene. And then she will depart the scene.
Well, we have a lengthy journey ahead of us if we're to find our way to this castle. Now, which one of us is prepared to sneak in?
Back on the road, the sounds of your horses and one donkey's hooves clattering towards the kingdom, which you can see dimly lit in the distance. These lights, fires, torches along the top of a tall wall that seems to be encircling the central capital of this kingdom. A tall stone wall with the road leading up to a bridge, short bridge, and a portcullis, which has been lowered.
It seems a little too convenient to go through the front door. Sage, is there perhaps another way we can gain entry?
Indeed, there is. Allow me to make a small detour in our wanderings. And I will head over to the adventurers' quarters, where I will call upon my old friends who know everything about the kingdom.
Oh, is this your retired adventurers guild that you know?
Yes, they are.
That are conveniently they're conveniently located outside of the kingdom walls. That's true. And there are 2 fires outside, signifying where the door is. And when you enter in, kind of everyone stops to look at you, but they are all enjoying beers, telling stories of their previous adventures, regaling each other with tales. And they look at you and they see you, Oraz, and everyone goes, "Hey!" and raises a glass to you.
I nod. I head over to the bar. I will pull out the Sacagawea dollar out of my pocket and slap it down on the table, like this is a cut-rate John Wick.
Yes, of course. I would have recognized you, but I do appreciate you going through the appropriate procedures, Oraz.
Of course, procedure is everything. So, evidently, the bones have spoken. And they say they spell doom for the prince. However, he's locked himself away in the castle in fear, knowing that we're coming. So perhaps I could lean on you a bit to allow me to use the secret passage inside that you use to smuggle in wenches and smuggle out artwork.
Oh, absolutely. What they say in this retired adventurers guild is that when a friend presents his coin, that you must aid him with whatever his heart desires, and if it is entry to a castle, it is entry to a castle. And I like to believe that this scene actually was meant to happen somewhere else, not directly outside the castle. But in editing, it accidentally got slipped in here, which is what makes it seem like the Adventurers Guild is directly next to the castle. It actually should have happened like before the farmer's house, but it's been misedited in here.
Okay, whoever printed the script obviously got things out of order, not a problem. But yeah, I'll even put in a good word for you with the princess, you know.
Oh, the princess, she is a very fair maiden. Have you laid eyes upon her?
I have. My friend here has laid more than eyes upon her.
Oh, really?
Yes, I got to clasp her hands and look deeply into her eyes.
Oh, of course, that's what you meant, yes.
What were you thinking?
You know, us adventurers, the scallywags that we are.
Well, there's more to me than meets the eye, so let's just overlook that sudden malappropriate comment and let's just get to the part about sneaking into the castle.
Oh, absolutely, yes. On the northwest side, you will find a loose stone. You will need to pry the stone loose, and inside you will find a lever. Pull the lever, and a bush 17 feet down to the west, right, to the right, if you know your right from left, to the right, will open itself up to you, and behind the bush you will find yourselves a staircase, and that staircase will take you down below the city into the sewers.
Sounds tremendously convoluted. Somebody had extra space for props.
Well, it says in my script here that I was supposed to improv that, and I'm not good at it.
You've done fine.
Oh, thank you, thanks. This is my first gig.
Good luck to you.
Is there anything else that I can help you with?
No, that's quite all right. Shall we go, gentlemen and ladies?
Most certainly. This bush sounds tremendous.
Wait till it's erect.
Correct, you say?
No, a wreck. After we crash through it.
Oh, I wouldn't do that, but you definitely should. I quip.
So our party leaves, led on by the sage to find this magical bush that will grant them entry to the goods that are waiting inside the castle. And as you are searching around for this loose stone, why don't you roll me, let's call it an enigmas and intellect.
Is it just for sage rolling?
Yes, just our sage is rolling to find entry.
So, let's see. And it's what's the roll again? I'm sorry.
It's enigmas and intellect. I believe that puts you at 12 dice.
Yeah. So let's see.
You like a good, healthy dice pool.
Yep. And that's why I have 6 successes.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, so you can easily both find this and also do so in a quiet way, which doesn't signal to any of the guards or cultists or anything like that. So yes, you locate the rock, you locate the lever, you locate the bush, you part the bush and make your entry and find yourselves in the sewers below the city.
It's warm and slightly damp.
That's how I would expect to find anything beneath such a bush. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do a little exploring, as one does.
Do you need my map?
Certainly, we will need your...
I slap it on the ground. There's mountains drawn in crayon on there.
Clearly, the mountains mean we have to continue to go left, because the right way pretends doom.
I concur. To the left! So I hold out my sword.
Let's just get out of her way. I'm kind of hoping the great and noble warrior that we all know Celadora the Explorer will charge her way in.
Yes, and as Celadora is in fact leading the charge, why don't you roll me a survival cunning?
This would actually be an excellent roll for me. But do it, roll it.
My 3 dice pool.
It's okay, we want the rewrites.
Yeah, I got no successes. I am not cunning.
To 7 rewrites. Now, I will say, Lonnie, since you used your trademark and you had such a good success, is there anything you would like to add or take away to this sewer scene? As you are trudging your way, and actually, Celadora seems to be lost. Even with her map, it's a map, it's a map, it's a map.
You know, the Adventurers Guild leaves marks so that new adventurers don't get lost. You know, they have to train the rookies. So I will just sagely look at the back, let her fumble around a bit, and then show her the correct way there.
Yes. Oraz gestures to indicate to you these small markings, almost hidden. You wouldn't even see it if you didn't know that they were there. But clearly, these are indicators so that the Adventurers Guild members can find their way easily in and out of the city when smuggling things in and things out. And you can use these markings to find your way out of the sewers. And you come to a sewer grate that you believe would be in near the castle. Or did you want to enter into the castle directly?
Into the castle directly.
Yes. So you find yourselves in the baths, below the castle. Grate slides over, and we see our 4 adventurers climb their way out, most of them kind of mucky from the knees down, but Alistair completely oiled.
That's correct. It'll pay off one day, I promise.
And you find yourselves, yes, in the dark, damp baths below the castle.
It's quite the spot here. Now, where would this prince, this evil prince lay at? Perhaps a high tower? Perhaps a grand ballroom?
Is there anybody around, Miranda?
Oh, what is that? You actually hear whispering coming down one hallway. It seems to be coming towards you.
I'm going to go along the wall to find the door, mostly just to stand there and open it up when they get close so they just fall into the darkness with us.
Vicky has posed herself next to the door. What were you saying, Celadora?
Oh, they're not here yet, so I can't use my trope yet.
Oh, okay, yes. So the voices approach down the hallway, and as they get close, Vicky, it sounds like you're opening the door, and are you startling them, or?
I mean, as startled as one can be into falling into a room without understanding how or why they're falling.
Okay, I think that's going to take a roll, and what role could that be?
Well, clearly there's dexterity involved.
There is dexterity involved, and I'm going to say, you know what? It's physical persuasion. You're persuading them into being scared. So I'm going to call it persuasion and dexterity.
I got 4 successes.
Oh, fantastic. So you spring open this door, and they're so shocked that they trip over their robes, and they tumble into the room with you.
And then I slammed the door closed.
Celadora, were you doing something upon them entering the room?
Yes. Can I see Can I see them at all, or is it just like completely pitch black?
It is pretty dark in here.
All right, I'm going to use the trademark. The will of the gods is with me, and can I use that in conjunction with one of my tropes?
Probably. What trope are you using?
Heavy is the crown.
Okay. Please explain for our audience what Heavy is the Crown does.
Sure. All my life, I've dreamed of grand adventure and extraordinary destiny. I didn't believe it when I discovered that I am royalty. And I don't share that with just everybody, but once per episode, per movie, per whatever the hell we're filming here, I roll command and persuasion, blah, blah, blah. I reveal my noble birth to a character, which is our friends on the ground here. And if we succeed, they will swear fealty to my claim and maybe help us find the prince so we can go kill him.
Yeah, so the difficulty is 3, and you can roll either command or persuasion plus presence. And the difficulty is 3, so you have to get at least 3 successes. And if you would like to use your trademark in conjunction with this, that will grant you 2 extra dice.
And I landed with just 3 successes.
Oh, 3 successes is exactly what you need. How convenient. But that does mean that you don't get your directorial control because you didn't exceed the difficulty, you just met it. Explain to me how you reveal this to them. Put me in the viewer's seat.
Yep, as they're laying flailed on the ground, I lean down and get really close to them and whisper, I'm Princess Celadora from somewhere out east, and I was given up for adoption and sent in a basket in a river, and I'm really a princess, and I need to find Prince whatever the fuck his name is, and we need to go talk to him.
The East, you say? I have heard tell of Princess Celadora. Is it you? Is it really true? It's really true? Is it really true that it's you?
I get close enough so our noses touch, and I look them in, and I'm like, yes.
And they both bow down before you, and they clutch their swords in front of you, and they say, Princess Celadora, we swear our lives to you, lost princess, queen of the East now.
Yes, minions, please help us get this kingdom back for the princess, who is my friend Alistair's lover or friend or something.
Oh, I thought maybe that we were forming an alliance with the East.
No, you are. It's the East, and then there was the West.
Oh yes, you uniting the East and the West. Oh yes.
I step in and say, and Juliet, you are the sun.
That's what I was thinking too.
Oh, so line.
We must unite the East and the West. Oh, Princess Celadora, you have come to save us all. Yes, the prince has gone mad with power, mad with rage, with murder.
Oh, I have a sword for that.
That's not equipped, but I feel like it should be.
It should be.
I give you a rewrite for that because I like it so much.
Look over at Alistair and I quip between my sword and your mouth. We can't lose.
Generally, that's the other way around, but certainly not.
Certainly, the prince is in the main hall. He sits upon his throne day in and day out, bringing in villagers, townsfolk, anyone that he can, and has their blood spilled before him. But for what? For what reason?
Only a man who committed to the darkest of paths would do something like this to their people. For this alone, he should be slayed. As we move forward, you will need to keep your blades sharp and your minds sharper. Many, many mysteries lie ahead.
Ah, yes, and with Celadora at the lead, we shall not fail. Yes, we will lead you. We will lead you. Quick, and hide yourselves, else we will be seen and found out.
Excellent. I take to the shadows.
Why do I imagine that Alistair's cloaked figure still has an exposed chest?
Yeah, it's I can imagine any sort of ambient light sort of just occasionally falls on just the deep V-neck of a tunic that he wears, just to get the glisten as he moves through the castle.
Well, in the meantime, I reach into my bag and pull out multiple robes that look vaguely culty. It's all that the props department had. And I give them to the ladies.
I'm going to just throw the robe over me. What color is the robe?
The color scheme you're going for is black and blood red.
So I'll have a blood red cloak and I'll just slide myself along the wall slowly and quietly.
I shove the robe back at him. Good sir, I am royalty, princess, queen of the East. Somewhere, they will bow to me, or they shall meet my sword.
Fine. I put it back in the bag.
And so you make your way through the castle to the, what's it called where the throne is in the castle? What's that room called?
It's called the throne room.
The throne room? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that just happened right here live for us.
The king died there.
So did Miranda.
So these new sworn loyal followers that you have, Princess Queen Celadora, lead you to the throne room. Now, the sconces and lights along the wall have all been, for some reason, the light glows a certain red. It's not this bright yellow-orange light anymore. The entire castle is encased in this blood red glow, and any statues to any gods or goddesses or deities that you would have seen throughout the castle that they would maybe pray to or worship or leave offerings at for the good of the kingdom have been completely destroyed, knocked over, and shattered at the ground. And in their place, they have left a red serpent. And you continue to travel towards the throne room. And as you get closer, you hear the screams of people coming from the end of this large hallway. There's this very large screams of the people coming from this large illuminated archway at the end of a long hallway, but they'll never see that on camera. They'll just see you in the hallway, they'll see the archway, and then they'll probably see you come around the other side, unless you wanted to sneak up from the back or ask these gentlemen for another way around or anything like that.
I have a feeling that the princess or queen that we're now with, whichever title she chooses, is likely going to go sort of directly in, sort of a face-to-face confrontational sort of person. And so I think Alistair is going to know this and try to sort of get the jump on that whole process beginning. And so what he wants to do is he wants to boldly stride into this room, and he wants to attempt to visually locate this prince before the true battle begins.
Oh, yes. It is not difficult to do. So Alistair strides ahead of Celadora before she even knows what's happening and steps into the room, and you find yourselves in this very large cathedral-esque throne room, very high ceilings and windows on both sides, stained glass with various depictions of the kingdom and the once king who is now dead. And to one side, there are what you're assuming are peasants or villagers that have been locked in a cage. And in front of the throne, which is up on this pedestal, on the floor, there are like 5 or 6 dead bodies. Their throats appear to have been cut. And then there on the throne sits who you are assuming would be the prince. And then there is a person standing on either side of him, possibly advisors. They are in culty robes.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're berobed, and one has a staff.
Interesting. So the prince's name, do we remember that from the I'd look in the script for the prince's name.
Yes. I don't know if the princess told you the prince's name. Prince's name, I feel like she just said my brother, is Prince. She definitely didn't say this. Prince Rezo.
Okay.
Rezo.
I sort of page forward in the script a little bit, see Prince Rezo's name, and then deftly and quickly return the script to a back pocket or something like that. Prince Rezo, is it?
Who is it that enters my throne room, which is a word that I call this place?
It is I, Alistair von Gutenberg, known to many of the people of this nation, mostly the women, some of the men. I don't like to discriminate. It has come to my attention that you have been ravaging and killing the countryside. And while there are many people with me here that are ready and able to cut you from limb to limb, I thought it very important that you should understand that I've been sent by your sister to do something very specific. I'm going to spend a rewrite, and I'm going to pause the monologue.
So what this essentially does is it forces him to monologue so that you then get 2 rounds where he can't do anything because he's monologuing and you can do other things. There are 2 other people here, but
your sister has sent us, specifically us, to help cleanse this nation, and you will stand for your crimes. But before you do, how many crimes have you committed? How terrible are you? That way I know where to put you on the list.
So let's roll initiative so we know how many rounds we're getting out of this. Initiative is athletics and cunning or empathy and dexterity. This is the point in the show where magic effects, rewrites, cinematics, they're all on the table anyways, but now is like going to be a big time for them. Use them up. You'll be at 7 rewrites now.
Okay. I have 3 successes on initiative.
I have 2.
I also have 3.
And I have 2.
Okay, and I will have 5. So it will be me, Mike, Allie, Morgan, Lonnie. And I'm essentially going to give you a round with the other 2 not acting because of your monologuing. And then after that, it'll just be the prince that doesn't act. How many people have I killed? Well, I can name every single one of you. There was Terrence and Jeffrey and Sydney and Isabella. I especially loved killing Isabella. She was such a wench. And you know, their blood is not in vain. In fact, if I kill enough of them, then Zokai, the hellworm, will rise from his grave. In fact, Zokai has given me some of his powers himself already. And on top of that, I killed Reginald and I killed Louisa. And he'll just start saying names of how many people he has killed, and he's naming all of them off. And as he's doing this, Mike, what do you do?
So, I have a couple of ideas. How many rewrites do we have left?
You have 7.
That's an awful lot of rewrites.
It sure is.
How do we all feel about using You'll Never Get Away with This?
That'd be fantastic.
It remains in play until activated a second time, even if there are several reasons to. I'm trying to see what it does.
So the next time, it's down on the next page. The next time you use it, until the end of the scene, your archenemy and their unnamed minions cannot win a roll against you. Any named lieutenants they have are unaffected.
Yeah, I'm absolutely at the just with the complete and utter disdain for this man. I'm saying you're not going to get away with this, and I will draw my very fancy rapier.
So that will activate him as your arch nemesis, which he already was, so it works. And so then you'll have to use the cinematic a second time, which I feel like would be the next round. You would say the same thing. And then at that point, until the end of the scene, him and his unnamed minions cannot win a roll against you.
That's right. Good plan. Go team.
Okay, so Mike yells, "You'll never get away from this," and Alistair shouts, "You'll never get away with this." Allie, what are you doing?
Well, the thing that I wanted to use, it doesn't currently play because we don't have any complications right now. So I can't use 5 steps ahead and pull up my script and like direct the rest of us.
Are you asking the director to give us complications?
Kinda. Director, can we have complications?
Oh, absolutely. So what happens is in this moment, the floor bursts into flame and begins to crumble below you as it seems that this last peasant that was sacrificed may in fact be waking the hellworm.
So I'd like to use 5 steps ahead, which is a rewrite that basically we get to plan everything behind the scenes and dictate what we're going to do for for a while, and it's going to be great because I'm going to pull out my script and I'm going to read ahead, and I'm going to, on camera, do like these crazy hand signals to get us directed to where we need to be. And at that point, I'm going to be like, the spot that I'm in at the end of this, working ahead, I'm going to be behind one of the robed figures, the one who looks like me in their blood red robe.
Yes. For the audience, 5 steps ahead means that the group can use this cinematic when there's complications. When they do so, they can explain how they expected the complications and how they actually help them. So it sounds like what Vicky Baxter, what's happening is she has used the complications so that when the floor shifts, she has placed herself behind one of these cultists. Is that accurate?
Yep, and basically flail to try to get the attention of my fellow actors to be like, no, really, you don't want to stand on the floor.
Yes, and all of the complications become enhancements for the role. So I will give you guys some enhancements for that. So next up, Morgan.
Yes. Celador, the explorer, will use a trope.
Okay.
She'd like to use the weapon of old. And to explain what that is, that no one remembers when the weapon appeared in the stone, but rumors claim that whoever pulled it free would lead the oppressed to victory. Centuries passed and no other has managed to budge it from its place, except for me. And that's how I got my wooden sword. The weapon grants me a +1 enhancement to either aim or close combat rolls, depending on its shape. When you hold the weapon aloft, you feel the power of the gods coursing through you when you call its name. So once per story, I can raise my weapon, call its name to gain +2 enhancement to might or dexterity rolls until the scene ends. And so when I do that, I raise my wooden sword and I say, by the power of Red Skull.
And that will give you +2 on might or dexterity rolls until the scene ends. Now, since that was just a trope, you can still attack on this turn if there's someone you want to attack.
Oh, yes. How many rewrites do we got left?
2, and Mike does need 1 to enact the second part.
He just needs the 1, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go run my sword through the second person next to the throne that Vicky is not behind.
Yeah, go for it. It'll be a close combat and might. And you get a +1 enhancement to that, which means that you get an automatic success as long as you get some successes. And you get a +2 enhancement, which is your once per story. So that's +3 enhancement. And then whatever you're on for quips, will you be adding any trademarks to this?
Oh, I will be adding the trademark right between the eyes, because I think that's appropriate. And so for the enhancements, Director, does that mean I get 3 successes automatically if I roll a success?
Yeah, so you don't add dice for those. Those are just automatic successes. You just get the rest of your dice.
Got it. And it was?
Close combat, might. +2 for your trademark.
So many dice. And I only got 1 success. So I got 4 successes.
Well, that is fine. So you still are able to skewer them through with the sword. It does not kill him. He's very strong, but you do quite a bit of damage to him. Okay, so I'm reading through because I'm like, this is super broken. This, if it makes it essentially that they can't attack you at all for the whole scene, that's kind of broken, right? But it says unnamed minions and the main guy can't attack you, but named minions can still attack you. So I'm not going to totally cripple the fight, because that's essentially what it does. But it will greatly lessen the fight, because your main foe won't be able to attack you, and then any unnamed minions that they spawn won't be able to attack you, which I was going to do that, so that doesn't help. But the named minions standing next to him will still be able to attack. Lonnie, what are you doing?
We have a free rewrite, so I'm going to hold my action for the moment. I want to see what the guy with the staff does.
Okay. So it's back around to my turn, and the prince goes, And then there was that woman. I didn't know her name, but she only had one hand. And I thought that maybe they didn't count her as much as a person because she only had one hand. So then I found someone that had 3 hands. And so I sacrificed them as well to balance out the one that had one hand. And I thought that was quite clever of me. And he will continue to go on with naming the people that he has killed in the name of his god. Now, the 2 minions beside him, one is by you, Vicky, and one is by Celadora. They will both turn to you, and their mouths will open wide, and out from their mouths will spew a fiery liquid as they will shoot their fire breath at you. So they are going to roll aim and dexterity. Now, you both can defend. If you would like to defend, you can roll stamina to see if you can shrug some of this off.
I got 1 success.
Okay, so you'll be 2 for defense. What about you, Morgan?
I also got 1 success.
Okay, so you both take a hit from this. So you will both mark off the next level in your damage. So I believe that puts Celadora on that'll leave a scar, and that puts Vicky on just a flesh wound. So essentially just a flesh wound. You will get 1 die on anything that's marked as a path. And Celadora, you get a +1 on all die rolls from now on because you are on that'll leave a scar. And it's Mike's turn.
I look at the prince and I point my rapier at him and say, "You'll never get away with this."
I used a rapier like that when I killed Sally, and Sally was just a young girl, and I thought he'll like it if I kill this young girl. And I think I've already gotten away with it.
I guess I'm gonna, I guess the rewrites does the rewrite take my entire action to?
No, you can go.
Okay.
Go for it. Go for something.
Yeah, you bet. So given that, given that it's here and it's time, I am going to utilize God's gift to the medieval era, and that is I'm going to use well-oiled abs. So I will, release myself from the trappings of this tunic in a swift move and grant myself a +1 enhancement bonus on seduction, evasion, and rolls to escape from grapples, as I am well-oiled. Additionally, once per story, which is the ability I'm going to use, is I'm going to entice an opponent to admire my well-sculpted body. That being the prince.
Now, I will say the prince can't win anything, and this is just me giving. The prince can't win anything against you guys for the rest of the scene, so he is useless. I don't know if you want to entice him or entice someone that actually has action.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, that worm hasn't come out of the ground yet, has it?
It hasn't, no.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, his lieutenant. We'll pick the gentleman with the staff, I suppose.
Okay.
And so I would like to make a manipulation and persuasion roll against that lieutenant, because we all have needs, and I'm certain that he does, or they do. I don't want to presume. And I'm going to say to him, "Your prince will soon lie in folly. Perhaps you'll stop over and hear and enjoy some jollies."
If this was a cartoon, he would do the jaw drop, eyes out, auga, panting, leg kicking is what would happen. But instead, he turns his gaze to you, and the lights hit your glistening body, and you can see he kind of gets weak in the knees a little bit, and he grips the shaft of his staff with both hands to keep himself upright, because he almost clutches his chest a little bit, as if he can't breathe upon seeing you.
He's properly, a little bit frazzled. That's what I was going for.
Absolutely. Allie.
So this cultist next to me has fire breath coming out, right?
Yes, he spit fire at you.
Okay, so I have connections to various wild animals, including that dove that I shoved into my sack. So I'm going to hike up my robes real quick and grab the dove and shove it into his mouth.
Okay. That
What do you want me to roll for that?
I mean, this is a question I never thought I'd have to answer, but now I do. And so I feel like that's still going to be close combat, or I would take survival. Let's call it a survival and dexterity roll.
I have an 11 dice pool. That's fantastic. That's 10 because I got three 10s. So
I love that for you. You shove this plaster cast feather covered dove in his mouth. I feel bad for your animal. I don't think your animal friends are going to be friends with you for very long after this once you start shoving them down people's throats, but you shove it like a stopper in the bottom of a sink to clog up his throat, and the bird kind of burns a little bit, but the fire, and he's choking on it, and he has a choke on this dove that you've shoved down his throat, effectively nullifying this fire breath. You won't be able to breathe fire on you again. And it will be Morgan's turn.
Yeah, do I still have that advisor or whomever he is right in front of me?
Yes.
Great. I look at him and I say, point my sword, and we can do this the hard way or even the harder way. And then I use my trademark again, right between. Can you only use the trademark once? Each one once?
Just once.
Oh, well, snap. Can't use Ride Like the Wind or Polka Dot is gone. So I just get my quip and I will again stab him.
I like the idea, just for the film sake. I feel like it should happen that Polka Dot appears. I feel like you should use the trademark Ride Like the Wind, and your trusty steed Polka Dot arrives on the scene. That feels right to me for this film.
Yeah, I agree. So I yell, Ride Like the Wind, Polka Dot, and he comes trotting out from the side there, slowly.
How does he help you hit this guy with your sword?
He helps me by nudging his nose into the back of my elbow and helps me stab him right again in the chest.
Fantastic. Yeah, go get that roll for me.
Thanks, Polka Dot. So when I get 2 automatically, if I get a success because of my enhancements, because that trope goes until the end of the story.
Yep.
Okay. That's 7 successes.
And you skewer this advisor through with the aid of Polka Dot. You skewer him directly through it. Blood fire begins to burble from his mouth and drip down his chin. It's almost melting it away as the life seeps out of him. He's no longer immune to his own fire breath as you've skewered him onto your sword that you pulled from the stone, the great Princess Queen Celadora, the Explorer.
Yes, and director, if we can insert some brain noises from the donkey.
I'll check with the sound department. I will check with the sound department for that.
Yeah, because Polka Dot really doesn't talk a lot, but I think that would really enhance the film.
Lonnie, it is Oraz's turn.
Well, everybody else is out of the fight except the prince.
There is still one more. The advisor, priest, whoever he is, just has a dove shoved down his throat. He's still alive. He's just choking on a dove. And then also the prince, yes.
Well, and also the throne room's on fire, right?
Yep, the floor is on fire. The floor is lava.
Well, I have just the thing for this. It's my trademark. And so I reach into my bag with the last rewrite, and I pull out the arcane device that I built a long time ago that summons my friend when I need him. I've never needed him, so it's quite, rusty from disuse. And the fact that it summons a water elemental, so it's always kind of moist. And I will summon him and say, "Little hot here. Can you,
Lonnie, I have no idea what cinematic you're using that rewrite for."
It's the experimental devices trope.
Oh, okay. So it's one of your tropes. Okay.
Yep. This is my trope. I have the thing I need right when I need it. And the thing I need is this water elemental to both put out the fire, allow them to stop having to CGI the floor, which, saves on the budget, and also allows them to use all the water, in the area and maybe get some of this oil off of everything.
Yes. Please roll mysticism or technology plus cunning or intelligence. And while you're doing that, Celadora, I almost completely forgot that you used your trademark and you rolled very well. So what would you like to add or change or get rid of in the scene, please?
So I would like... Has that worm come up yet?
No.
Well, when the worm does come up, because I'm assuming it's going to come up, I'd like to change that into a puppy.
Okay, I can roll with that. Because the worm was never going to come up, but Allie really wanted a complication, so now the worm's there, and now it's going to be a puppy. Don't worry, though, I've got it.
So I have 4 successes, by the way.
Oh, 4 successes, absolutely. So you pull out this rusty device, and you're kind of like, you're trying to get it. It's been a while. You're trying to get it to work, and it summons your friend, the water elemental, who begins to spray all over the floor, causing all these big plumes of steam to rise up as well, which really adds a lot of ambiance to the scene, I would say. So that is very successful. Good job. Now we're back around to my turn, and the prince goes, "Wait a second. You've tricked me. I didn't need to say all their names at all, did I?" And then he will attempt to charge at Alistair. However, he's going to be unsuccessful regardless, but he attempts to charge him, and as he's charging at him, he's getting bigger and bigger. He seems to be like empowered by this hell worm as his size grows, and he opens his mouth to breathe fire at you, but he begins to choke on the steam. He runs through one of the steam clouds, and it gets him right in the face, and it's very hot, and he breathes too much in, and he starts choking on it right in front of you.
Oh, Jesus, that's a lawsuit.
And then it's Mike's turn. Oh, wait, sorry. The other thing that happens on my turn is that the ground with this steam and the water, what it does is it actually cracks the foundation of this room. It cracks the floor, and a large crack runs along the floor. Now, they couldn't actually get a monster to play this worm, so what they did was they got someone's Great Pyrenees, and they put it in a costume, and they put these wings on it, and has this long tail flowing behind it, and it comes up out of this crack, and it's wagging its tail at you, and then it kind of, they have a dragon noise come out when it barks, and then it runs off to the side. And then it runs back and rubs up against one of you, and then it paws its face, and then it runs off again. Now it's Alistair's turn.
I think he's probably, for the moment, speechless. Just unbelievable turn of events. You know, while others might fight with crudely, I tend to fight with style. So I am going to utilize one of my tropes, which is to do it with style. And I'm going to take an enhancement on athletic rolls. But I'm also, in this point, able to locate a piece of scenery to add more finesse to the combat action I like to take, which is to essentially trip the prince into the hole, which has appeared. So that way we can be done, and hopefully we can have the Wilhelm scream go off at the end. So that's what I would like to do.
So roll it looks like an athletics plus dexterity to find your piece of scenery and rip it off.
Okay. 10s are 2, so that's 4.
Perfect, because it's difficulty 3. So you, what piece of scenery do you pull off to use as a weapon?
I think it's the throne itself. So it's not really like a super cool throne. It's probably just sort of cobbled together from a couple of pieces of trim that were probably pulled off of a crown molding somewhere and fashioned into a throne. And so I'd sort of like to olay. I am not a creature of might. Okay, so that's 3 here plus 2 enhancements, 5.
Oh, fantastic. So yes, you are able to use the throne to trip, and he falls into the hole that the dog came out of, and Wilhelm screams on his way down. And with the big bad being dispatched, we only have the one gentleman left that is choking, and so we'll give the gang a chance to dispatch him, because I don't want to take his death away from anyone, Allie especially, who's up next.
So I'm going to look at him because he's like slowly dying, right?
Yeah.
So as he's dying, I'm going to quip, "Fate has brought us together for me to end your life."
Yeah, go for it. How are you attacking him? Or you shove the bird further down?
So I'm going to essentially, I'm going to stand up, on the throne, and I'm going to punch down, on his throat to shove it further down.
Go ahead and roll me then a close combat and might. Plus your quips that you have, and any trademarks that you may want to use.
I can do this all day. It's one of my trademarks. 7 successes.
You cram this bird down his throat, and he chokes on it, and his life escapes from his body, and he falls limp. Is there anything you want to add or subtract with your trademark directorial control as our combat comes to an end?
It's a shame you were on the wrong side, because then you could have done this all day with me.
The prince and his advisor, his priest, have been dispatched. The worm has obviously been dealt with, as the last sacrifice was not made in order to free it from it. It did get out, but it wasn't freed, right? The people that are imprisoned here that were just about to be sacrificed are eternally grateful for you. And as our film comes to an end, our adventurers come out of the castle, and everyone in the town kind of comes out of hiding, out of their homes, is cheering for the adventurers. They're throwing things in the air. They're celebrating Celadora, the explorer from the east, who has come to unify the east and the west. And just to kind of wrap this up and do a little post scene for what do our characters do after they retire from this adventure? What does the rest of their lives have in store for them?
I think Alistair probably waits for the princess to come back to the castle, because clearly his adventuring days, I don't think that anything could possibly meet or exceed this grand quest. So yeah,
I think Alistair will do great as the life of a king. Vicky Baxter.
I'm going to go into the forest and try to make amends with all of my various other animals.
That's probably a good call. Celadora, the explorer.
After she unites the east and the west, she will head towards the sun on her trusty steed, Polka Dot, and continue her adventures along the land while meeting up with her friends every so often at that inn and have some stew with her maps.
And last but not least, Oraz.
Well, I will continue on my quest to now that we've faced this cult down and destroyed it. I am going to go seek the origins of it to document them for the rest of posterity and note them in my journal. My National Geographic.
The studio is setting this up for a number of sequels, which is why we had to lead into this so that we could have a number of spin-off episodes, obviously. But at this point, the credits sadly roll on our film. I know that all of our listeners, viewers will miss this ragtag group of adventurers, at least until the next time. So we really, really want to thank you all for listening to our fun romps. This is the last one through They Came From series, this one being They Came From the Cyclops Cave. We had a blast with all of them. Camp Murder Lake, Beyond the Grave, Beneath the Sea, all of them were a great time. And also our old Wild West, what did I call it? The Old West Ways. Our Wild West They Came From the new RPG anthology. So we hope to catch you in the next flick. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being our director for this series, Miranda. You've done a fantastic job. And I would just say, if I were a fan of the Old Ways podcast, if I were a fan of what we have done with some of the Onyx Path products, it would be good to let them know. We have seen some of your feedback directly, but letting them know publicly what you feel about the series as we put them together, if you've enjoyed them, that would be super helpful. Also, clearly, we've had fun with them. We know you can too. So very often there are sales on drive-thru or some of the other sites that you can buy their products from. We'd heartily encourage you to do so. So from us, all of us at the Old Ways Podcast, we will close curtain and say goodnight.